Stick to the subject. We'll finish our argument right now, and I'll give you breakfast, and we'll sadly part. Merely because I am lighter of spirits than this lugubrious old world? No, I decline to be dropped. I'll forgive you and go on with you. Mind you, I am sensitive. I will not intrude where I am not welcome. Only you must give me a sounder reason than my diverting conversational powers for shucking me. My logic is even stronger than my hedonistic contempt for hitting the pike. Well, hang it, if you must know, hate to say it, but I'd do almost anything to get rid of you. Fact is, I've been sort of touring with a lady and her father, and you would be in the way. Ah, you see, why, my boy, I will not only stick, but for you I shall do the nimble John Alden, and win the lady fair. I will so bedizen your virile, though somewhat crassly practical gifts. Why, women are my long suit. They fall for... Tut, 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 you're a fool. She's no beanery mistress, like you're used to. She is really a lady. How blind you are, cruel friend. You do not even see that whatever my vices may be, my social standing... Oh, shut up. Can't you see I'm trying to be kind to you? Have I simply got to beat you up before you begin to suspect you aren't welcome? Your social standing isn't even in the telephone book. And your vocabulary? You let too many kids slip in among the juicy words. Have I got to lick... Well, you're right. I'm a flib. Shake hands, my boy, and no hard feelings. Good. Then I can drive on nice and along without having to pound your ears off? Certainly. That is, we'll compromise. You'll take me on just a few miles into more settled country, and I'll leave you. So it chanced that Milt was still inescapably accompanied by Mr. Pinky Parrott that evening when he saw Claire's Gomez standing in the yard at Barmberry's and pulled up. Pinky had voluntarily promised not to use his eloquence on Claire, nor to try to borrow money from Mr. Boltwood. Without ever having quite won permission to stay, he had stayed. He had also carried out his promise to buy his half of the provisions by adding a 5-cent bag of lemon drops to Milt's bacon and bread. When they had stopped, Milt warned, "There's their machine now. Seems to be kind of a hotel here. I'm going in and say howdy. Goodbye, Pink. Glad to have met you, but I expect you to be gone when I come out here again. If you aren't, want granite or marble for the headstone. I mean it now." "I quite understand, my lad. I admire your chivalric delicacy. Farewell, old compagnon de voyage." Milt inquired of Mr. Barmberry whether the Boltwoods were within, and burst into the parlor living room library. As he cried to Claire, by the fire, "Thought I'd never catch up with you," he was conscious that standing up, talking to Mr. Boltwood, was an old young man, very suave, very unfriendly of eye. He had an Oxford gray suit, unwrinkled Cordovan shoes, a pert, insultingly well-tied blue bow tie, and a superior narrow pink bald spot. As he heard Jeff Saxton murmur, "Ah, Mr. Daggett," Milt felt the luxury in the room, the fleecy robe over Claire's shoulders, the silver box of candy by her elbow, the smell of expensive cigars, and the portly complacence of Mr. Boltwood. "Have you had any dinner?" Claire was asking, when a voice boomed, "Let me introduce myself as Westlake Parrott." Jeff abruptly took charge. He faced Pinky and demanded, "I beg pardon?" Claire's eyebrows asked questions of Milt. "This is a fellow I gave a lift to. Actor, well, kind of spiritualistic medium." Mr. Boltwood, with the geniality of dinner and cigar, soothed, "Jeff, Daggett here has saved our lives 2 distinct times, and given us a great deal of help. He is a motor expert. He has always refused to let us do anything in return, but I noticed there was almost a whole fried chicken left. I wonder if he wouldn't share it with his acquaintance here before they make camp for the night." In civil and vicious tones, Jeff began, "Very glad to reward anyone who has been of service to..." He was drowned out by Pinky's effusive, "True hospitality is a virtue as delicate as it is rare. We accept your invitation. In fact, I should be glad to have one of those cigarros elegantos that mine olfactory..." Milt cut in abruptly, "Pink, shut up. Thanks, folks, but we'll go on. Just wanted to see if you had got in safe. See you tomorrow, some place." Claire was close to Milt, her fingers on his sleeve. "Please, Milt." "Father, you didn't make your introduction very complete. You failed to tell Mr. Daggett that this is Mr. Saxton, a friend of ours in Brooklyn. Please, Milt, do stay and have dinner. I won't let you go on hungry. And I want you to know Jeff, Mr. Saxton, Jeff. Jeff, Mr. Daggett is an engineer, that is, in a way. He's going to take an engineering course in the University of Washington. Some day I shall make you bloated copper magnates become interested in him. Mrs. Barmberry? Mrs. Barmberry! Oh, Mrs. Barmberry, won't you please warm up the other chicken for—" "Oh, now, that's too bad. Me and Jim have ate it all up," wept the landlady at the door. "I'll go on," stammered Milt. Jeff looked at him expressionlessly. "You will not go on," Claire was insisting. "Mrs. Barmberry, won't you cook some eggs or steak or something for these boys?" "Perhaps," Jeff suggested, "they'd rather make their own dinner by a campfire. Must be very jolly, that sort of thing. Jeff, if you don't mind, this is my party, just for the moment." "Quite right. Sorry." "Milt, you sit here by the fire and get warm. I'm not going to be robbed of the egotistic pleasure of being hospitable. Everybody look happy now." She got them all seated, all but Pinky. He had long since seated himself by the fire, in Claire's chair, and he was smoking a cigar from the box which Jeff had brought for Mr. Boltwood. Milt sat farthest from the fire, by the dining table. He was agonizing. This Jeff person is the real thing. He's no Percy in riding breeches. He's used to society and nastiness. If he looks at me once more, young garage man found froze stiff near Flathead Lake, scared look in eyes, believed to have met a grizzly, no signs of violence. And then I thought I could learn to mingle with Claire's own crowd. I wish I was out in the bug. I wonder if I can't escape. End of chapter 17.